Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Way That I See It. My name is Lucy Superfox, and this is my podcast. So this week, I wanted to talk about something that I've called soft girl season. And it's a bit of a hashtag. It's not sure, it's not fully trending viral. I cannot get comfy. I don't know if that's another ADHD thing. I'm learning all these new ADHD traits. But yeah, for me personally, I'm really resonating with the term soft girl season, really resonating with that energy of just nurture and rest. And really, I've spent the last year, really, as you guys know from listening to my podcast, focused on regulating my nervous system, on taking care of myself, on looking back at things that have been trauma responses, looking at my triggers, looking at where some of the things have fallen apart in my life and why, and looking at, was it because I sabotaged? Was it because I got complacent? Was it because I wasn't ready? What was the reason behind why things in my life happened the way they happened? And then by doing those things, I was able to identify where the growth needs to come. But what I have battled with over that year is the need to be somewhere else, is the need to be further ahead, is the need to feel like I'm, going where I want to be going, looking at my vision board, that is actually happening, that need for reassurance, that need for certainty. And what I've started to realize is that actually the only way I'm ever going to really create any of the things that I visualize or any of the things that I'm seeking in my life is truly by embracing the softer part of me, is by embracing, my feminine, I guess, and I'm not that girl. I'm not your spiritual guru. I'm not here to give you all the knowledge and the wisdom drops and that. I am a mindset coach first and foremost. And, in my new course, Becoming, there's a huge part in there about regulating the nervous system. There's a huge part in there about who you're being as a person and about embodiment. That's the missing piece, I always think, in manifestation. So by the way, if you want to check out Becoming, you can drop me a DM, and there's an exclusive discount code for anyone that drops me a DM. But the Becoming course was really founded in this growth, in this work that I've done over the last year, right? So it just felt like the transition into what's happened recently, has been this kind of energy of this soft girl season has been actually inevitable. It's actually just inevitable. It was exactly what needed to happen. And it's because I think there was a big part of me that was fighting. So was fighting to get to these levels, in business or wealth, was fighting to get to create things, was fighting. And it wasn't coming from a place of desperation, or it wasn't coming from any of these negative things that we normally think. My fight has always been my fire, right? My fire has always been my drive. My drive has always been my, it's felt freaking fantastic. And, no doubt a dopamine chaser all at once, right? But what I really now understand is that a huge part of that, and also you got to remember, guys, I'm 35, getting married in November, seasons of life, right? But I actually felt that basically my nervous system told me last year, you cannot continue to keep doing what you're doing. You cannot carry on doing this the way that you've been doing it. You cannot continue to hustle and drive and race, and because if it fucking worked, it would have worked already. And the truth is, it got you to where you are, and for that I'll have to be forever grateful. I truly believe in the concept of energetic minimums and maximums, and wealth minimums and maximums, and something Amanda Frances talks about a lot in her book Rich as Fuck. But I truly believe in that concept. So I know whatever I do for work, I'm going to earn the same amount of money, because that's what I'm available for. But the challenge is, unless I can change what I'm available for energetically, nothing is actually going to change, because there is only so much struggle, sacrifice, hustle that you can actually do, and that you truthfully then have to figure out why you're doing all those things. And there is a very different energy behind somebody who is hustling from desire and passion and love and than somebody who is hustling from need and control and a perception of what will happen when they get there. And I've been both. I've absolutely, and what normally happens with me is I set my goal based on the first one, and I try to close my goal based on the second one. And the truth is, you're never going to close an energetic goal with manipulation. So if you are trying to achieve anything in life, whether it's money, body, business, relationships, you can for sure manipulate your way there. There's no joy in that journey. I've done it with lots of things. And I can tell you that the joy has always been when the manifestation has come unexpectedly, when the manifestation has appeared in a different format, when I've been surprised by the universe, when there's been synchronicity, when there's been magic, when there's been miracles, when there's been things that I could never, what if I was religious, I would call grace, right? When something else fills in the gaps other than me. And the reason we often feel the need to manipulate or control is usually because we have a feeling that if we don't, that we won't be good enough, or that our work won't be good enough, or what we create won't be good enough. And so what we do is we step into a place that we probably had to as a young person in some area of our life, where we had to look after us, we had to manage us, we had to control us, we had to regulate us. And so what happens is we try to step in as that person now, but what we have to remember is we're a different person now. We're not a 7-year-old child anymore that needs to walk themselves to school, even though they feel a bit like, oh, a bit nervous, right? We're not that person anymore. So what happens is we step into old energies to try and create new things, and it doesn't work, right? Because when you're trying to create anything new, and we talked about this on last week's podcast, when you're trying to create anything new, it must come from newness, right? Because you are who you are because of everything you've done up to this point. So if you want to create something new, that's got to come from new energy. It's got to come from new intention. It's got to come from new focus. It's got to come from new passion. It can't come from old stuff. And so when you're not looking at your triggers and your trauma and your wounds and your work, right, if you're not looking at those things, what you're actually doing is recreating the same fucking life over and over and over and over and over. And so if you want to actually create something new, you are going to have to become a new version of yourself. And what I recognize is the version of me that I want to become is softer. The version of me I want to become is kinder. The version of me I want to become is she doesn't feel the need to struggle and sacrifice because she knows her fucking worth. Like my mantra and the way I live at the moment is my wealth and worth is not attached to anything. My wealth and worth is not attached to anything. My wealth and worth is not attached to fucking anything. I'm worthy because I am, and I'm wealthy because I am. And so what you have to remember is when you believe that your wealth, your worth, your success, your whatever is attached to your manipulation or control of circumstances, you will continue to manipulate and control and push and struggle and strife and force, right? And what I can tell you is you can also achieve all those things from inspiration, from aligned action, from manifestation, right? I've been talking about manifestation obsessively lately, right? So you can do all of those things from that energy. But the truth is, that is a different energy. That is a soft girl. It's a sense of peace. It's a sense of inner trust, a sense of inner faith. Those emotions are on a very different scale to force, struggle, sacrifice, drive, control. And look, both will be required in your life. There'll be periods where you need to manipulate, and there'll be periods where you need to manifest. And you have to be able to discern the difference between what period you're in. Like if an emergency happened right now, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, let me manifest an ambulance, right? Like that's not what I'm talking about. It's being able to discern that you don't have to spend all of your time in control, manipulation, panic, stress, strife, because the truth is you're probably sending your nervous system into haywire because it's dysregulated the entire time because you never allow it to step back and freaking relax. Guilty as charged, right? So I don't, again, like I always say, I don't sit here on a silver perch preaching something that I haven't been through. I am telling you, I have been the girl who has hustled her way to multi-6-figure businesses, to a great career before that, to, so much stuff. And I loved it. And there was so much joy in that journey. Like I wouldn't have continued if it wasn't joy in the journey, right? But the truth is I had this perception that more meant more struggle and more sacrifice and more work. And it's not to say there won't, like action won't be required. It's not to say that effort won't be required for your next step, but it can also come from a place of alignment and inspiration and desire. And when it comes from alignment and inspiration and desire, it comes from a place that is way more sustainable than struggle and sacrifice and burnout and attachment. And so you've just got to work out what season of life is this for you right now. Is this a season of life where you just need to fucking get shit done? You need to step into your masculine, you need to be in your control, you need to be in that kind of like manipulation energy. And it's not to say you can't manifest while manipulating, but maybe there's stuff right now that you need to be on that game, right? If you've got shit going on at home, if, maybe it's some holidays at the time recording this, maybe you've got the kids at home and it's really hard for you to relax. So you need a system, you need a process, you need a flow, you need time management. Maybe you need to have a schedule for every day, like that kind of masculine energy. Maybe that's the season of life you're in right now. The season of life that I am in right now is about expansion. It's about growth. It's about peace. It's about enjoying what I've created. It's about gratitude. It's about actually trusting myself that when all I want to do is maybe redecorate a room in my house, that is the inspired action. It's trusting myself that when I want to go to brunch and then take a nap like I've done today, that is the inspired action. It's trusting myself that when actually tonight what I want to eat for dinner is eggs on toast, and not actually sit and make myself this official meal and force it down, like that's an inspired action. And one of the things that I've really had to work out for me is what is the difference between what feels good in the moment, so like a pleasure seeker, like we'll have a biscuit, right? Or actually what is your authentic self. And one feels very like dopamine chasing, like ugh, right? And one feels very calming. So whenever I'm faced with what's the best thing for me right now, the answer I kind of say is, how does it make me feel? If it makes me feel rushed or activated or excited or like, then it's not the right step. The thing for me is, I think it makes me feel calm and safe. And the reason why that is because when we regulate ourselves to constantly feel calm and safe, not consistently, but constantly, regularly feel calm and safe, our energetic capacity expands. And when our energetic capacity expands, so does our power to manifest, so does our intention, so does our vibration, so does our power to create. Or what can happen is you can step into chasing things and manipulating things. And what happens over time is, as you burn yourself out, your energetic capacity shrinks. And then your ability to manifest and attract things shrinks. And that's when you revert into control, resentment, fear, judgment, criticism, negativity. And this is all I focus on every day is, am I expanding or am I contracting? Am I expanding or am I contracting? And so a big part of my soft girl season is stepping into the energy of expansion, is stepping into the growth and the healing and the regulation and the work that I need to continue doing, that I've been doing for the last fucking year. And look, it's never done. Growth is never done. It's the worst bit about personal development. Once you open the box, you can't shut the lid, right? Isn't it so freaking annoying? But the truth is, I could never go back. I could never go back to a life of having my blinders on. I could never go back to a life where I didn't look at my life in a different way, where I was able to observe my limiting beliefs and go, oh, that's interesting. Why do I think that? Where a life where I actually just lived by them. Like, I could not imagine going back to that life. And that is the best and worst thing about personal development, is that it's hard. And the fact that it's hard is great, because then when you grow through something and you go through something, you become a new version of yourself. And every time you become a new version of yourself, you change the energy which you hold, you change the vibration, you change who you have actually become. And when you change who you've become for the better, when you step into that expansion energy, that growth energy, that power energy, what you also step into is an energy of expansion. And that is likely when your business will grow. That's likely when your wealth will go, your relationships will change. Maybe you'll lose the weight that you've been holding on to, because you're in a free flowing energy where energy can flow back and forth, but there's no restriction and tightness and manipulation and control. And that is the season that I am in right now. That is my soft girl season. This is the year of the baby showers, of the weddings, of the love, of the birthdays, of the celebrations, of a 2-week birthday. If you want to have a 2-week birthday, this is the year for that for me. And it's not about, age is always something to do with it, right? But for me personally, this is the season of life I need to nurture and nourish myself, to give myself back the energy that I took from myself in my 20s, the energy I took from myself in the pandemic, the energy that I continued to pour from when other people needed it. And I have no resentment, no guilt, no regret about how I built anything or created anything. It made me the person I am today. And I wouldn't change a fucking thing about who I am. But what I am changing is the next season, because the next season is my soft girl season. So if you want to join me on soft girl season, I'd love for you to drop me a little tag in your soft girl season post. Tag me in your story, share this podcast, let me know. And if right now you're like, Luce, I'm ready to become more, I'm ready to step in, I'm ready to start healing, I'm ready to start growing, then make sure to check out lucysuperfox.com/confidence for the Becoming course. And you can DM me on the IG, whether it's on Lucy Superfox or Next Level Lucy, to get your exclusive discount code to the Becoming course. So I love you all so much. Have the most beautiful week, and I'll see you on the next episode.